What's up, guys? Jimmy here. So, coming to you today with a interesting little video. Uh, I have been shooting two suppressors now. One for about 2 years, one for about 9 months, and I just want to bring a little video, like informational video, knowledge transfer of my experience with these cans, kind of help you figure out which one may be best for you, and just kind of make some decisions. Now, these are old cans. Okay, I believe the first can was developed in the late '90s, and this other can, it's a hodgepodge of that first can and a different mounting system. So I mean, you're talking, cans that in the next 10 years are going to be over the hill in their design. But awesome cans that I absolutely love. So what are we talking about? Allen Engineering AEM5 and AEM4. Now, little history: Phil Seeberger, he created Ops Inc. Ops Inc. hired Ron Allen. They started making cans. Notably, you have the Gordon suppressor from Black Hawk Down. That is one of the most famous suppressors out there. Very popular clone build, and I plan on doing one myself. But for the time being, I went with a Mark 12 build in 6mm arc. I did not do standard 5.56. I was starting to get tired of shooting 5.56. I have a DMR in 5.56. I don't need an SPR in 5.56. So I went with 6mm arc. So in order to go clone correct, I had to get the AEM5. But wait, that's 6mm, 22 can. This is a 30 cal can. So they make the AEM5 in 22, which I just found out you can shoot 6mm out of the 22 cans. It is bored to be able to shoot 6mm. Per Brian from AE, for the love of all things holy, use alignment rods to make sure you're not going to have a baffle strike. It can be done. It will be done. Just make sure your alignment is correct. So I didn't know that at the time that I bought this one. And I bought this one through Thoroughbred Armament. It was about $50 cheaper than going through AE, which really, they're always out of stock. They're always out of stock. If that tells you anything about how popular these cans are. When I talk to Brian, they just can't keep up. So, but long story short, as you know, Phil Seeberger, he created Ops Inc. Ron Allen came on. Ron Allen developed the Ops Inc. 12th model, which is now called the AEM5. When Ops Inc. went and closed their doors, Ron Allen took over, and he was just making a handful of suppressors a year. It was not his primary source of income. He just made a few. They're very expensive, very hard to get a hold of. And then a company called Otter Creek Labs worked out a deal with Ron Allen for the rights to be able to make a version of the AEM5. And that is the Otter Creek OCM5. They're identical. So Ron Allen sold the company off. Now the new guys, can't remember what their original name was, but they're the guys that are running Allen Engineering. They are cranking these things out as quickly as possible. They've improved on a lot of the manufacturing designs. I had a really long talk with the fellas over at Allegheny Arms, and he just gave me a lot of insight on how Brian and the boys have just modernized Ron Allen's production. So you have the AEM5 30K, which is this model, okay? So they have the AEM5 30, which is a little bit longer. This is the K model. The K model is identical to the standard AEM5 that would be found on the Mark 12. The only difference, this is 1 ounce heavier. This is 22 ounces. Yeah, 22 ounces. This bastard is heavy. If you run out of ammo, just on the bright side, and beat the shit out of someone with it. So, the dimensions, overall length, 8.8 ounces. This only adds 6.2 inches to your muzzle. Diameter, 1.5 inches. This is the mount style for this one is the A mount, which is the longer style mount system. I'll go over that in just a second. Now, Brian sent over the AEM4. The AEM4 is, all intents and purposes, identical to the AEM5, but it has the Bravo mounting system. So that shortens the can by about 6 inches there. So overall length is 8.4 inches, only add 6.2 inches to your muzzle, same 1.5 inch diameter, 19.4 ounces. Yeah, they're heavy cans. That is the biggest con to this can, besides the fact that they're hard to get a hold of right now just because of how popular they are. I have shot an Ops Inc. 12th model. I have shot an OCM5. I have shot the AEM5 and the AEM530, AEM530K. They're all wonderful. If you can get your hands on an Ops Inc. branded one, do it. It's a collector's item. So, why are there two different mounting systems? Well, the AEM5 was made for the Mark 12 system. So you have your muzzle brake, you have a collar, and you have your gas block right here. So what happens, you slide the suppressor over the barrel. So there's a good portion of the barrel that is inside the suppressor. That is one of the parts that makes the suppression so wonderful with this one, is because of how much barrel is in there. Science, Phil Seeberger was an absolute genius. I believe he was a sound technician back in the day, and he understood sound waves and how to dampen sounds, and he was a genius. So that is why it only adds 6.2 inches and change to the end of your barrel, because it slides over. Now, why would you want something shorter? Well, I have my SBR. This is a 12.5 mid-length SBR. Now, you're already looking, you can tell that there's something very different between these two. The gas block is integrated with the tapered collar. So the gas block and the collar is one piece. So you can get a shorter package altogether. And then you have the fact that this is a shorter mounting system. So by integrating your gas block and your collar, you get a very short package. Now, again, this thing's fucking heavy, all right? But I love it. Absolutely love it. It's worth the extra ounces. So, real world use, all right? CQB, absolutely. This suppressor is pretty popular with some SWAT teams because company called Allegheny Arms came out with the tapered gas block. This one is the .880. This one allows you to use the AEM4 on a 10.5, not a 10.3, a 10.5 inch barrel carbine gas, 12.5 mid-length, and 16-inch rifle length. Now, here's the cool part. If you already have an AEM5, but you want to do something shorter, all I have to do with this 12.5, if I want to use my AEM5 on it, is go to Allegheny Arms website and order their extended break. So that brings the threads up here, and it makes this B mount into an A mount. Now, here's the downside. They do not make a 5/8 by 24 extended break yet. So I was talking to Brian. I said, hey, dude, I want to do a 12.5 6mm arc or a 16-inch rifle length 6 arc. They don't make an extended break for me to mount my AEM 530K to that rifle. Can I legally bore out this to be able to shoot 6mm? It's already been done. Per Brian, this is already bored out to be able to shoot successfully 6mm projectiles out of it. His words, use alignment rods to make sure you are aligned. There is very, very little wiggle room. Very little with this 22 and a 6mm bullet. So make sure you use an alignment rod. Okay. Now, here's the cool part. Wish I'd have known this before I spoke with him about this one. They now make an AEM5-6, a 6mm variant. Now, this is not just standard AEM5 baffles thrown into the 6mm variant. They actually redesigned the baffles for 6mm. And then in the AEM4, they have the AEM4-65, which is also designed for 6.5 variants and 6mm variants. Redesign the baffles to work with that round. So, will you get great suppression out of this thing? Absolutely. Absolutely. Will you get better suppression out of the 6.5 variant if you're shooting 6 arc? Yeah. Same with this one. So I use this one on my DMR and my Mark 12. It is beyond hearing safe. And I'm not kidding. So was out with a coworker. His son was shooting it. He absolutely loved my rifle. I let him shoot a little bit. Him and I could have a conversation like this while his son was shooting and had no problem hearing each other. Same for this one. Now, we had to speak a little bit louder because it is a short barrel, but we could still hold a standard conversation without ear pro and have no issues communicating. Every damn time I go to the range, I'm stopped by at least 3 people asking what the hell I'm shooting with both of these cans. I'm not shooting subsonics. I'm shooting 6 arc, roughly 3,300 feet per second, and then I'm just using standard 55 grain most of the time out of the SBR. If I'm doing some work or if it's set up for home defense, I'm using 77 grains. But either way, it is beyond hearing safe. I have no qualms about shooting this one or this one inside of a house without ear pro. No qualms. I actually got rid of my Dead Air Sandman K because of this can. This can already put that little thought in the back of my mind to get rid of the Sandman. This one confirmed it. Is the Sandman lighter? Yes, it is. Does it have a better mounting system? Yes, it does. You can use it with a lot different rail setups, barrel lengths. You don't have to have exposed barrel. You don't have to collar, etc. It's just the chemo system. It's a wonderful system. These cans made me get rid of my Sandman K. Why? The Sandman K was only effective on subsonic 300 blackout on a good day. Supersonics, loud as shit, and I was shooting a fireball at least 4 feet out the end of the can. You know anything about suppressors? The military buys suppressors not for sound suppression, but for signature reduction or to reduce the muzzle flash. The Sandman K sucked at life on that. Even with the subsonic, you would still get the muzzle flash. So Sandman K, it's gone. I don't regret it at all. I prefer the extra weight and the sound suppression over a lightweight can. Does it suck long term carrying it? Yes, it does. Ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. At the end of the day, I'm not getting younger. I want to preserve what hearing I have left. These cans help me do it. So, which one should you buy? Well, that depends on what you're going to do with it. I would at minimal, just buy the 6 or 6.5 variant of each can. That way, you have a couple options. Run 5.56 only, or 6.5 Grendel, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6mm arc, etc. I have seen the AEM530K on a Scar, I believe it was 308. It wasn't what I expected, but it was still hearing safe. It was just you couldn't have a standard conversation when firing that gun. It was just a little bit loud. But go ahead and get at minimal the 6mm or 6.5 variant of either one of these cans. If all you plan to do is shoot 5.56, fella I met at the gun store, he was getting a suppressor for his M4 for hogs. Just get the standard one. That's all he was going to do. Going to mount it on his rifle and shoot a shit ton of hogs with it. That's it. Like, well, you have an option. Allen Engineering or Otter Creek. He picked up the Otter Creek. It was available locally. These are not available locally to me, unfortunately. But depending on what you want to do, you have a ton of options. A ton. You have the Recce system that just came out. You have Craddock Precision that's making the 15.1 barrels for the Reccys. They make some awesome Mark 12 barrels. So figure out what you want to go with. If you're going with a Mark 12 clone, your only option is the AEM5 to be clone correct. If you want to go with a short barrel with outstanding suppression, muzzle flash reduction, get the AEM4 and just run that. Again, they don't make 5.8 by 24 brakes over Allegheny Arms, the extended ones, to be able to run the AEM5. So if all you're running is 5.56, just get the standard brake, the Allegheny Arms gas block. If you're running the 10.5, 12.5, or 16-inch, 10.5 carbine, 12.5 mid-length, 16-inch rifle length. Go to town. These will run you between $750 to $850, depending on where you get it from. These do not come with the muzzle brake system or the collar. So you have to buy this separate depending on what you're going with. If you go with the Mark 12 setup, like this one, the collar, the muzzle brake, and the thread protector for the muzzle brake was $150. I believe this separately is, I'll just get you the price real quick. So the SPR brake and collar kit's $150. The standard brake is $90 without the thread protector. The thread protector is $35. Thread protector just goes over this. This is my thread protector. So that's just the gist of this video. Went a little bit longer than I expected. If you stayed this long, thank you. I know I'm a weird dude, kind of rambled, but hey, thank you. Any questions, drop them down in the comments. I'll get to them when I see them. And we just kind of go from there. Thanks, fellas. Have a good day.